Hey everyone, I am Ajay and I'm currently building my own game and documenting the journey along the way. This channel is mainly focused on the process of game development. It's not just the final polished state, but it involves all the messy thinking, the iterations, and also the decisions which I take behind the scenes. In this video, I explain something simple on the surface but surprisingly nuanced: the sprint mechanic. I basically go through the process of how I approach the problem and how I started it from the concept phase to the final polished state. I go through each and every step along the way, and also the refactors which I think is good for the game. I made it and I have explained why I made those refactors. So, if you are into game development or system designs, or if you just are curious about making something from a concept phase to a final state, this video is for you. Let's dive in.
First step I did is to create an input action in the controller class. I bind the input action to the functions, get a reference of the character, and then call start or stop sprint method of the character. In the character class, I use a movement system component, which is an actor component class. I then leverage this movement system component to start or stop the maximum walk speed. Basically, in the actor component, I mention the max walk speed of the character by increasing it when the sprint is started and changing it to default on stopping the sprint. Now, in the editor, I bind the button press to the input action, and then the character runs accordingly when a shift key is pressed on the keyboard. Now I had to work on move placeholder animations. I opened up Unreal, started working on the control rig for idle animations and sprint animation. In the animation blueprint class, there is an update method where I had to mention a boolean sprinting. So this sprinting is basically fed from the movement component class. So if it is toggled on, the sprint animation will be played, otherwise an idle animation will be played. I also worked on animation for pistol and AK-47. I had to work on the sprint animation of both the weapons. I hooked them in the animation blueprint class and was happy with the final output of the animations. I had to provide some effect to show that the character was sprinting. I thought of using a post-processing effect on the character and started creating an effect material using the free starter content asset. Once I had that on sprint, I added the material to the character's camera and then cleared them when the sprint was released. I refactored the controller class to prevent casting of the character, as casting is an expensive operation. I used an interface class where all the methods are used with blueprint native event to make it a static method. If it is mentioned as blueprint native event, we have to override the method and use underscore implementation. Now, in the controller class, I check if the character class uses the interface and then directly call the character class without casting by using execute underscore method name. I repeated this for all the methods of the character's input handlers. I had to refactor the weapon system component class. The issue was there was a reference of the character in the weapon system component. I had to make the component standalone. It is fine for the character to know about the weapon component, but it should not be a case for the weapon system component to know the character. It should be a one-way street and not a two-way. So I had to refactor the code. I made good progress this week and I'm happy with the progress. Next week is all about working on the climbing technique and I'm excited to further work on the movement system of the character. If you like this content, do subscribe. I'll be completely transparent on my development journey and will share all my obstacles and successes on the way. Thank you.